Hey Pisces, let me just start by saying that what I am seeing in these cards right now is something I have been waiting to share with you because the energy here is incredibly specific and honestly quite revealing about a situation that I know many of you have been feeling, but maybe have not fully understood yet. So I am pulling cards today around this topic of someone who is married or committed to another person who genuinely cannot stop thinking about you. And before we dive into the actual cards, I just want to acknowledge that this is a delicate situation, and I am approaching this reading with care and honesty because I know some of you are going through something really complicated right now. The first card that came through for this reading is the Eight of Swords, and when I pulled this card, I immediately felt the energy of mental restriction and feeling trapped. What is really interesting about this card in the context of our reading today is that it is showing me the mental and emotional state of this married or committed person who cannot stop thinking about you. The Eight of Swords traditionally shows someone who is blindfolded, surrounded by swords, feeling completely stuck and unable to move forward. This person is experiencing an intense mental prison right now. And here is what the cards are telling me about why this is happening. They are in a relationship or marriage where they feel obligated to stay, where they feel bound by circumstances, by what other people expect, by financial ties, by children perhaps, by the life they have built, but their mind and heart keep wandering back to you. The blindfold in this card represents how they cannot see a clear way out of their current situation, and those swords surrounding them represent all the thoughts, all the mental barriers, all the reasons they tell themselves about why they cannot act on their feelings for you. What is deeply significant here is that this person is experiencing a form of self-imposed imprisonment, because technically, in most versions of this card, the person could walk away from those swords if they just took off the blindfold and looked around, but they feel so trapped by their circumstances that they cannot see any options. This tells me that this married or committed person is spending countless hours thinking about you, replaying conversations, remembering moments, imagining what could be different, but they feel absolutely paralyzed by their current commitments and situation. The energy around the Eight of Swords in this reading is showing me something really specific about the nature of their thoughts about you. This is not just casual thinking or mild attraction. This person is mentally consumed, and I mean genuinely consumed by thoughts of you to the point where it is affecting their daily life, their ability to be present in their current relationship, their peace of mind. The swords in tarot represent the mental realm, thoughts, communication, and intellect, and having 8 of them surrounding this person shows me that their mind is absolutely crowded with thoughts about you. They might be thinking about what they should say to you, rehearsing conversations that may never happen, analyzing every interaction you have had together, wondering what you are doing at any given moment, comparing their current partner to you, and feeling this intense mental conflict between what they want and what they think they should do. I am also getting that this person might be experiencing anxiety or sleep disturbances because of how much mental energy they are directing towards you and this impossible situation they feel stuck in. They might lie awake at night thinking about you. They might find their mind wandering to you during ordinary moments throughout their day. They might feel this constant underlying current of longing mixed with frustration because they cannot act on their feelings. What the Eight of Swords is really emphasizing in this reading is the self-created nature of their prison. Yes, they are married or committed, and yes, those are real obligations and commitments, but the cards are showing me that much of what is keeping them trapped is actually their own fear and their own beliefs about what they can or cannot do. They are telling themselves stories about why it is impossible to change their situation, why they must stay where they are, why they cannot pursue what they really want, and those stories have become the bars of their prison. This is important for you to understand, Pisces, because it means that while this person is genuinely thinking about you constantly and probably has very real feelings for you, they are also the architect of their own stuckness. The cards are not showing me someone who is actively working to change their situation or find a way to be honest and authentic. Instead, I am seeing someone who is mentally spinning in circles, feeling trapped, but not actually taking any steps toward freedom or clarity. Now let me talk about how this energy might be manifesting in ways you can actually observe or sense. If you are in contact with this person, you might notice that they seem distracted around you, that they might stare at you when they think you are not looking, that conversations with them feel loaded with unspoken things. You might sense a heaviness or tension when you are together, like there is so much that wants to be said but cannot be. The Eight of Swords energy also suggests that this person might send you mixed signals because they are so conflicted internally. One moment they might seem warm and open with you, and the next moment they might pull back or create distance because they are trying to manage their own feelings and maintain their commitments elsewhere. This push and pull dynamic is a classic manifestation of the Eight of Swords energy, where someone wants something but feels unable to move toward it. So they end up in this painful back and forth pattern that is confusing for everyone involved. The second card that came through is Temperance, and this card brings such an interesting energy to this reading because Temperance is all about balance, moderation, patience, and the blending of different elements to create harmony. When I see Temperance in a reading about someone who is married or committed, but thinking about you constantly, it tells me several important things about the current energy and what might be unfolding here. First, Temperance is suggesting that this situation requires patience and that things are not going to move quickly or dramatically. This is a slow unfolding situation where time is a necessary component, and I know that might be frustrating to hear, especially if you have feelings for this person too, or if you are tired of being in this ambiguous situation. But the cards are very clear that this is not a situation where sudden changes or quick resolutions are likely right now. Temperance is asking for a measured approach, for allowing things to develop naturally without forcing outcomes or trying to rush the process. What Temperance is showing me about this married or committed person is that they are trying to find balance between their current life and their feelings for you, and this is an incredibly challenging balance to maintain. They are attempting to be present in their marriage or relationship while simultaneously managing these intense feelings and constant thoughts about you. Temperance shows someone who is trying to integrate different parts of themselves, different desires, different commitments, and this integration process is not easy or straightforward. I am getting that this person might be going through a period of serious self-reflection right now, where they are trying to understand themselves better, trying to figure out what they really want, trying to reconcile different aspects of their life and their desires. The angel in the Temperance card is pouring water between two cups, which represents the mixing and blending of different elements. And in this context, it shows me that this person is trying to blend or balance their practical responsibilities with their emotional truth, their commitments with their desires, what they think they should do with what they actually want to do. Temperance also brings a spiritual dimension to this reading that I think is really important to address. This card often appears when there is a need for spiritual growth and understanding, when a situation is teaching us something important about ourselves and about life. For this married or committed person who cannot stop thinking about you, Temperance suggests that their attraction to you and their constant thoughts about you might be part of a larger spiritual lesson or journey they are on. Perhaps their feelings for you are showing them something they are missing in their current relationship, something about themselves they have not acknowledged, some part of their authentic self they have been suppressing. Temperance indicates that this whole situation, as uncomfortable and complicated as it is, might be serving a higher purpose in terms of their personal and spiritual evolution. This does not necessarily mean that a relationship between you two is destined or that they will leave their current situation, but it does suggest that you have entered their life to catalyze something important in their growth and self-understanding. For you, Pisces, Temperance is offering some really important guidance about how to navigate this situation. This card is counseling patience, emotional balance, and faith in divine timing. If you have feelings for this person too, Temperance is suggesting that trying to force anything or push for outcomes right now would not serve you well. Instead, this is a time to focus on your own emotional equilibrium, to maintain healthy boundaries, to allow this person to sort through their own situation without you trying to influence or control the outcome. Temperance is about trusting the process and understanding that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply allow space for truth and clarity to emerge naturally. This card is also reminding you that you deserve someone who is fully available to you, someone who can meet you openly and honestly without the complications and conflicts that come with being married or committed to someone else. The balanced energy of temperance is encouraging you to stay centered in your own worth and not to accept less than you deserve just because someone is thinking about you or has feelings for you while being unavailable. The spiritual lesson of temperance in this reading extends to the idea that not every connection we feel deeply is meant to be pursued or turned into a relationship. Sometimes people come into our lives to show us something, to reflect something back to us, to teach us something important, and then the healthiest thing is to appreciate that connection for what it is without trying to make it into something it cannot be, right now or perhaps ever. Temperance asks us to be wise and discerning, to look at situations realistically while also honoring the spiritual and emotional significance they hold. This card is suggesting that whatever unfolds with this situation, there is value and meaning in it, and your job is to stay true to yourself, maintain your integrity, and trust that the right outcomes will emerge when the time is right. The third card I pulled is the Hierophant. And okay, this card is fascinating in this context because the Hierophant is literally the card of traditional values, marriage, commitment, social structures, and conventional approaches to relationships. When the Hierophant appears in a reading about someone who is married and thinking about someone else, it is directly pointing to the very institution and commitment that is creating the conflict in this situation. The Hierophant represents the formal bonds, the vows, the public commitment, the traditional structure of marriage that this person is bound by. This card is highlighting that this person takes their commitments seriously, or at least they take seriously the appearance and social expectations associated with their commitments. And this is a major factor in why they feel so stuck and why they have not acted on their feelings for you despite thinking about you constantly. What the Hierophant is revealing to me about this married or committed person is that they are someone who is very influenced by what other people think, by social expectations, by traditional values around relationships and marriage. They might come from a family or a community where divorce or separation is looked down upon, where maintaining the appearance of a stable marriage is very important, where there is pressure to make things work no matter what. The Hierophant energy suggests that this person might be staying in their current relationship, not necessarily because they are happy or fulfilled there, but because they believe it is what they are supposed to do, because they made vows or commitments, because of what friends and family would think, because of religious beliefs, because of the social structure their life is built around. This card is showing me that external expectations and conventional beliefs about marriage and commitment are playing a huge role in keeping this person in their current situation, even while their heart and mind are with you. The Hierophant also represents conformity and following established rules and traditions. And in this reading, it is highlighting how this person might be someone who has always followed the expected path, who has done what they were supposed to do according to family, society, religion, or their own internalized beliefs about what a good person does or what a responsible adult does. They probably got married because it was the next logical step, because it was what was expected, because they were at an age where that is what people do. And now they are realizing that following the conventional path does not necessarily lead to genuine happiness or fulfillment. Their constant thoughts about you represent a part of themselves that wants something different, something more authentic, something that feels real and alive rather than just appropriate and acceptable. But the Hierophant energy is so strong in their life that they cannot imagine actually breaking from tradition or going against social expectations. There is another layer to the Hierophant in this reading that I want to address, and it has to do with seeking guidance or approval from external authorities. The Hierophant is often depicted as a religious or spiritual leader, someone who provides guidance and wisdom based on established teachings and traditions. In the context of this situation, this card might be suggesting that this married or committed person is seeking advice or guidance from others about their situation. They might be talking to friends, family members, religious leaders, therapists, or other authority figures trying to figure out what to do. The challenge here is that most external advice they receive is likely going to reinforce the traditional Hierophant perspective of staying in their marriage, working on their commitment, not pursuing feelings for someone else. This means that even as they think about you constantly, every external voice they hear is probably telling them to focus on their marriage, to resist temptation, to honor their vows, and this reinforces their sense of being trapped between what they want and what they believe they should do. For you, Pisces, the Hierophant carries an important message about the reality of the situation you are dealing with. This card is a clear indicator that this person's commitment to traditional structures and social expectations is not something that is going to change easily or quickly. The Hierophant represents deeply ingrained values and beliefs, and these do not shift overnight. If you are hoping that this person will leave their marriage or relationship to be with you, the Hierophant is suggesting that this would require them to go against everything they believe about commitment, marriage, and doing the right thing according to traditional standards. That does not mean it could never happen, but it does mean that it would be an enormous internal shift for them, one that would likely involve significant guilt, social consequences, and a complete rethinking of their identity and values. The Hierophant is also reminding you that being with someone who is so bound by traditional expectations and external approval might not actually be the partnership that would serve your highest good, even if it feels like what you want right now. Moving forward to the fourth card, I pulled Strength, and this card brings such powerful energy into this reading. Strength is about inner courage, patience, compassion, gentle power, and the ability to manage difficult emotions and situations with grace rather than force. When I see strength in this reading about someone who is married but constantly thinking about you, it tells me several important things about what is happening beneath the surface and what is required moving forward. First, strength is highlighting that this person is using an enormous amount of inner strength right now to manage their feelings and maintain their current situation. They are exercising self-control, they are restraining their desires, they are trying to be patient with themselves and their circumstances, and this is requiring significant emotional and mental energy. The imagery of strength traditionally shows a figure gently closing or holding the jaws of a lion, which represents taming and managing powerful instincts, passions, and desires through gentle persistence rather than through aggression or force. What strength is showing me about this married person's thoughts about you is that their feelings are powerful, almost overwhelming, represented by the lion in the card, but they are trying to manage these feelings with patience and self-control. They are not acting impulsively or rashly. Instead, they are trying to approach this whole situation with some level of maturity and responsibility, even though internally they might be feeling very intense emotions. Strength suggests that this person recognizes that the situation is complicated and that there are no easy answers. And rather than making dramatic moves or declarations, they are trying to navigate everything with as much care and consideration as possible. This might manifest as them being kind and respectful to you even while keeping some distance, or them being thoughtful about when and how they interact with you because they are aware of the power of their feelings and the potential consequences of letting those feelings guide their actions. Strength also speaks to the compassion and tenderness that this person feels toward you. This is not just about physical attraction or surface-level infatuation. The energy of strength suggests genuine care, deep affection, and a soft-hearted love that is patient and enduring. This person thinks about you not just with desire, but with tenderness, with caring, with genuine interest in your well-being and happiness. They might find themselves wondering if you are okay, hoping that you are being treated well by others, feeling protective of you in some way, wanting good things for you even if they cannot be part of your life in the way they might want to be. The Strength card shows that whatever this connection is, it has touched something deep and genuine in this person's heart, something that goes beyond superficial attraction to something more soulful and profound. For you as a Pisces, Strength is offering guidance about how to approach the situation from your end. This card is encouraging you to be strong in your own right, to have courage in maintaining your boundaries, to be patient with yourself and with the situation, and to approach everything with compassion for all parties involved, including yourself. Strength is reminding you that true strength is not about force or demand or trying to make things happen through sheer will. True strength is about having the courage to be vulnerable, to be honest about your feelings, to honor your truth, and simultaneously to respect the complexity of the situation and to allow others the space to make their own choices. If you have feelings for this person, strength is asking you to be gentle with yourself about those feelings, to not judge yourself harshly for caring about someone who is unavailable, and also to be strong enough to not compromise your own values or well-being for a situation that is not currently serving you. The message of strength in this reading also extends to the idea of inner work and self-mastery. Both you and this married person are being called to examine your own hearts, to understand your true desires and values, to develop the inner strength to make choices that align with your authentic selves, even when those choices are difficult. Strength is not about denying feelings or pretending they do not exist. It is about acknowledging feelings fully while also maintaining the inner discipline and wisdom to act in ways that are ultimately healthy and constructive. This card is saying that navigating this kind of complicated situation requires real emotional and spiritual maturity, and it is asking both of you to rise to that challenge. The fifth card that emerged is the Hermit, and this is such a significant card for understanding the internal journey that this married person is going through right now. The Hermit represents solitude, introspection, soul-searching, inner guidance, and the process of withdrawing from external noise to find clarity and truth within. When the Hermit appears in this reading, it is showing me that despite being in a marriage or committed relationship, this person is experiencing a profound sense of inner loneliness and isolation. They feel alone even when they are with their partner. They feel disconnected and separate, like no one truly understands them or sees them for who they really are. This inner isolation is part of what makes their thoughts keep returning to you, because perhaps in their interactions with you, they have felt more seen, more understood, more connected than they feel in their primary relationship. The Hermit indicates that this person is in a phase of deep self-reflection and questioning. They are asking themselves fundamental questions about their life, their choices, their happiness, their purpose, their authenticity. Their constant thoughts about you are not happening in isolation, but are part of a larger process of self-examination, where they are trying to understand what they really want from life and relationships. The Hermit climbs the mountain alone with only a lantern to light the way, and this image perfectly captures the journey this person is on right now. They are trying to find their own truth, to discover their own inner wisdom about what is right for them, and this is a solitary journey that no one else can take for them. Even if they wanted to talk to someone about their feelings for you or their dissatisfaction in their marriage, the deepest work of understanding themselves and their truth is something they must do alone. What the Hermit is revealing about this person's thoughts about you is that you represent something to them that goes beyond just attraction or connection. You might represent a reflection of the kind of person they wish they could be, the kind of connection they wish they had, the kind of life they might want to live if they were making different choices. When they think about you, they are not just thinking about you as a person, but about what you represent in terms of possibility, authenticity, freedom, or genuine connection. The Hermit suggests that their feelings for you have prompted or intensified a period of soul-searching where they are reconsidering everything about their life and questioning whether they are living in alignment with their true self. This is both profound and challenging because this level of self-examination can be uncomfortable and destabilizing, especially when it reveals a gap between how someone is living and what they truly want or value. The Hermit also speaks to withdrawal and creating distance, and this might be manifesting in a few different ways in this situation. This person might be withdrawing emotionally from their current partner as they process their feelings and do this inner work. They might seem distant, preoccupied, less engaged in their relationship because so much of their emotional energy is being directed inward and toward thoughts of you. Additionally, They might be creating some distance from you as well, perhaps to give themselves space to think clearly, to avoid temptation, to protect themselves from acting on their feelings before they have done the necessary inner work to understand what they really want and what they are willing to do about it. If you have noticed this person pulling back or being less available, the Hermit suggests that this withdrawal is not necessarily about their feelings for you diminishing, but about them needing space to process and understand everything they are experiencing. For you, Pisces, the Hermit carries important guidance about respecting your own need for solitude and inner reflection during this time. This card is suggesting that you also need to do some soul searching about what this situation means to you, what you really want, whether waiting for someone who is unavailable aligns with your values and your vision for your life. The Hermit encourages you to spend time alone, to get quiet and listen to your own inner guidance, to seek wisdom from within rather than looking for answers or validation from external sources. This is a time to be honest with yourself about your feelings, your hopes, your fears, and your boundaries. The Hermit reminds you that you have your own inner light, your own wisdom, your own truth, and that you do not need anyone else to complete you or validate you. Now I am pulling the 6th card, and it is the Page of Swords, and the energy shifts here to something more active and communicative. The Page of Swords represents curiosity, mental activity, communication, information gathering, and a youthful or inexperienced approach to situations. When this card appears in a reading about someone who is married but thinking about you constantly, it tells me several things about the nature of their thoughts and possibly about actions they might be taking or considering. First, the Page of Swords indicates that this person is actively gathering information or seeking to understand the situation better. They might be paying very close attention to everything you say and do, analyzing your words and actions, trying to read between the lines to understand how you feel about them. The Page of Swords is curious and alert, always watching and listening, and this suggests that this person is very tuned into you, noticing details about you, remembering things you have mentioned, trying to piece together a fuller picture of who you are and what you might think or feel about them. The Page of Swords also represents communication, and this card might be indicating that this person thinks about reaching out to you, about what they would say to you if they could be completely honest, about how they might express their feelings or test the waters to see how you might respond. They might rehearse conversations in their mind, imagine different scenarios of what they might say and how you might respond, consider sending you messages or finding excuses to talk to you. The Page of Swords energy is tentative and exploratory when it comes to communication, not yet ready to make bold declarations, but definitely thinking about the possibilities of connection and expression. If you receive messages from this person that seem carefully crafted or that seem designed to elicit certain responses from you, that is the Page of Swords energy at work, trying to communicate while also being strategic and cautious about it. There is a quality to the Page of Swords that is about testing and probing, trying to figure things out without fully committing or revealing everything. This person might be giving you subtle signals or hints about their feelings, trying to gauge your interest or availability without coming right out and saying how they feel. They might ask questions that seem casual, but are actually designed to gain information about your relationship status, your feelings, your life situation. The Page of Swords is clever and sometimes a bit calculating, not in a malicious way, but in the sense of being thoughtful and strategic about how to approach a delicate situation. This card is showing me that this person is actively thinking about how to navigate this situation, how to potentially move things forward without causing damage or exposing themselves too much. The Page of Swords can also indicate that there might be some gossip, information exchange, or communication through third parties regarding this situation. Perhaps mutual friends or acquaintances have noticed the tension or connection between you and this married person, and there might be talk or speculation about it. The Page of Swords suggests that information might be traveling in ways you are not fully aware of, that people might be observing and commenting, and this could be adding another layer of complexity to an already complicated situation. This card is reminding you to be mindful of how you communicate and what signals you might be sending. Because in situations involving unavailable people, perception and reputation can become significant factors. For you, Pisces, the Page of Swords is encouraging clear, honest, and direct communication when appropriate, while also being thoughtful and strategic about what you share and how you engage. If you need to have a conversation with this person about boundaries or about the reality of the situation, the Page of Swords supports you in being clear and truthful. This card also reminds you to pay attention to the information and signals you are receiving, to notice patterns in how this person communicates with you, and to use your mental clarity and discernment to see the situation as it really is rather than as you might hope it to be. The seventh card is the Three of Pentacles, and this brings an interesting practical dimension to the reading. The Three of Pentacles is about collaboration, teamwork, skilled work, building something of value, and the early stages of manifesting plans or projects in the material world. When this card appears in a reading about someone who is married and thinking about you, it offers some specific insights about the context of your connection and what might be possible or necessary moving forward. First, the Three of Pentacles often indicates that you and this person might be working together in some capacity, collaborating on projects, involved in the same professional or social circles, or building something together in some area of life. This shared work or collaboration might be part of what has created the connection and the circumstances for them to be thinking about you so much. When people work closely together, especially on things they care about, emotional and romantic feelings can develop, and the Three of Pentacles suggests that this might be part of your story. The Three of Pentacles is also about recognition and appreciation of skills and talents, and this card might be indicating that part of what draws this married person to you is their admiration for your abilities, your intelligence, your talents, the way you approach your work or your life. They might think about you in the context of being impressed by you, appreciating your contributions, valuing your perspective and input. This admiration might be mixed with their romantic or emotional feelings, creating a complex combination where they respect you professionally or personally and also feel attracted to you romantically. The Three of Pentacles suggests that there is substance to this connection, that it is not purely based on fantasy or superficial attraction, but has some foundation in shared values, shared interests, or shared goals. The practical energy of the Three of Pentacles also points to the material and logistical realities of this situation. This card acknowledges that relationships and connections exist not just in the realm of feelings and thoughts, but in the practical world of circumstances, commitments, shared resources, living situations, and all the tangible aspects of life. The Three of Pentacles is reminding both you and this married person that any actual relationship between you would require practical considerations and planning. It would involve real-world consequences and changes. This card is bringing a grounded, realistic energy to a situation that might otherwise be all about emotions and thoughts, asking everyone involved to consider not just what they feel, but what would actually be required to act on those feelings, and what the practical implications would be. The Three of Pentacles also speaks to the importance of building something properly, with skill and attention to detail, following a plan or blueprint. In the context of this reading, this card might be suggesting that if anything is to develop between you and this person, it needs to be approached with care, integrity, and proper attention to doing things the right way. The Three of Pentacles does not support impulsive actions, secrets, deception, or cutting corners. Instead, it advocates for approaching situations with honesty, transparency, and respect for all parties involved. This means that if this married person truly wants to pursue something with you, the Three of Pentacles energy would support them in first being honest with their current partner, making clear decisions about their existing relationship, and approaching any new connection from a place of integrity rather than from a place of hiding or deception. For you, Pisces, the Three of Pentacles is encouraging you to value yourself and your contributions, to recognize that you have much to offer and that you deserve someone who can meet you openly and honestly in building something real together. This card is reminding you that while feelings and thoughts are important, actual relationships require practical commitment, collaboration, and the willingness to work together to build something substantial. The Three of Pentacles is asking you to consider what you really want to build in your life when it comes to relationships, and whether this current situation with someone who is married or committed is actually allowing you to build toward the kind of partnership and life you truly desire. The eighth card I am pulling is the King of Swords, and this is a powerful card that brings clarity, truth, intellectual mastery, and decisive judgment into the reading. The King of Swords is the ultimate authority when it comes to mental clarity, honest communication, logical thinking, and making decisions based on truth rather than emotion. When this card appears in relation to someone who is married but constantly thinking about you, it carries several important messages. First, the King of Swords represents the need for absolute honesty and clarity in this situation. This card is cutting through any illusions, any wishful thinking, any avoidance of truth, and demanding that everyone involved look at the situation clearly and honestly for what it is. The King of Swords does not have patience for self-deception, for playing games, for avoiding difficult truths, or for letting emotions cloud judgment. What the King of Swords is telling me about this married person is that at some point, they are going to need to make a clear, definitive decision about their situation. They cannot continue indefinitely in this state of thinking about you constantly while remaining in a marriage or relationship where they are not fully present or committed. The King of Swords demands decisiveness, the ability to cut through confusion and make choices based on truth and integrity. This card suggests that this person will eventually need to be honest with themselves about what they really want, honest with their current partner about where they stand, and honest with you if their feelings are such that they need to be addressed directly. The King of Swords does not support remaining in limbo or continuing to live in a way that is not aligned with truth. The King of Swords also represents someone who is intelligent, articulate, and capable of difficult conversations. This card might be indicating that this married person has the intellectual capacity to understand the complexity of their situation, to see all sides clearly, to recognize the consequences of different choices. However, seeing things clearly and acting on that clarity are two different things. The King of Swords is pushing toward action that is aligned with truth, toward having the difficult conversations that need to be had, toward making decisions that honor everyone's right to honesty and clarity. If this person has been avoiding crucial conversations with their partner about the state of their relationship, the King of Swords is saying that this avoidance needs to end. For you, Pisces, the King of Swords is encouraging you to embrace your own mental clarity and truth-telling in this situation. This card is asking you to be honest with yourself about what you observe, what you know to be true, and what you really want. The King of Swords supports you in setting clear boundaries, in asking direct questions if you need to, in not accepting vague or ambiguous situations when you deserve clarity. As a Pisces, you might have a tendency toward seeing the best in people, toward being compassionate and understanding perhaps to the point of accepting less than you deserve. The King of Swords is balancing that compassionate Pisces energy with mental clarity and self-respect, reminding you that true compassion includes being honest and clear, not just being endlessly accommodating or understanding of someone else's inability to be truthful and decisive. The King of Swords also brings up the theme of communication and important conversations that need to happen. If you and this married person need to have a direct conversation about what is happening between you, about boundaries, about reality, about where things stand, the King of Swords is saying that this conversation should happen and that it should be conducted with honesty, maturity, and clarity. This is not about dramatic emotional confrontations, but about two adults being real with each other about a complicated situation. The King of Swords represents the ability to discuss difficult topics calmly and rationally, to hear and speak truth even when it is uncomfortable, and to make decisions based on what is right rather than what is easy or comfortable. The ninth card is the Ten of Wands, and this card immediately shows me the burden, the weight, and the exhaustion that this married person is experiencing right now. The Ten of Wands depicts a figure struggling to carry 10 heavy wands, barely able to see where they are going, overwhelmed by responsibility and effort. This card is showing me that this person is carrying an enormous amount of weight, both literally in terms of their life responsibilities and figuratively in terms of the emotional and mental burden of their situation. They are responsible for their marriage or partnership, possibly for children, for financial obligations, for maintaining a household, for meeting expectations from family and community, for managing their career and life responsibilities. And on top of all of that, they are carrying the weight of their feelings for you and the internal conflict those feelings create. The Ten of Wands indicates that this person is exhausted, overwhelmed, and feeling close to their breaking point in terms of what they can handle. Every day they wake up and carry all these responsibilities while also managing their complicated feelings, and it is taking a significant toll on them. This card shows me that when this person thinks about you, there might be part of them that sees you as representing a kind of freedom or relief from all this burden. You might represent in their mind a simpler, lighter way of being, a connection that feels easy and natural compared to the heavy responsibilities of their current life. However, the Ten of Wands is also pointing out that this person is not currently in a position to take on anything new or to make major changes because they are already at capacity with what they are carrying. The Ten of Wands can also represent overcommitment and taking on too much, and in this context, it might be indicating that this person has built a life that requires them to carry more than is sustainable or healthy. They might have made choices based on what they thought they should do, on meeting others' expectations, on building security and stability, but in doing so, they have created a life that leaves little room for joy, authentic connection, or personal fulfillment. Their feelings for you and their constant thoughts about you might be highlighting for them how burdened and trapped they feel in their current life structure, but the Ten of Wands also shows that they have not yet found a way to put down any of these burdens or to reorganize their life in a way that serves them better. What this means for you, Pisces, is that even if this person has genuine feelings for you and thinks about you all the time, they are in such an overwhelmed and burdened state that they may not have the emotional bandwidth or life space to actually pursue anything with you right now. The Ten of Wands is showing that they are struggling just to manage what is already on their plate, and adding the complexity of navigating a new relationship or leaving their current situation might feel impossible to them from a practical and emotional standpoint. This card is a realistic indicator that timing and life circumstances matter significantly. And right now, this person is so weighed down by existing obligations that meaningful change feels out of reach to them, even if they deeply desire it. The Ten of Wands is also showing me that this person might feel trapped by their own choices and by the life they have built. They might look at everything they are responsible for and feel that there is no way out, no way to lighten the load without disappointing people, causing hurt, or facing significant consequences. This sense of being trapped by responsibility is different from the Eight of Swords mental prison we talked about earlier, but related to it. The Eight of Swords is about mental and emotional restriction, while the Ten of Wands is about the actual weight of practical responsibilities and obligations. Together, these cards paint a picture of someone who is stuck on multiple levels, both in their thinking and in their actual life circumstances. And this double bind makes it very difficult for them to act on their feelings or make significant changes. For you as a Pisces, the Ten of Wands is offering an important perspective check. This card is showing you that while this person may think about you constantly and have real feelings for you, their life situation is extremely complicated and burdensome, and getting involved with them or waiting for them could mean taking on some of that burden yourself. The Ten of Wands is asking you to consider whether you want to be part of a situation that is this heavy and complicated, whether you are willing to wait for someone who is carrying so much that they may never find a way to put it down, whether accepting the reality of their burden serves your own well-being and your own life journey. This card is not making that decision for you, but it is making sure you see clearly what you would be signing up for if you choose to remain emotionally invested in this situation. The final card, the 10th card in this reading, is the Page of Pentacles. And this brings a very interesting energy to conclude with, because the Page of Pentacles is about new beginnings in the material and practical realm. about learning, studying, being a beginner at something, showing up with dedication and willingness to work, and focusing on tangible results and practical matters. When I see the Page of Pentacles at the end of this reading, it tells me several things about where this situation might be heading and what is needed from everyone involved. First, the Page of Pentacles represents a fresh start or a new approach to practical matters. And in the context of this reading, it might be indicating that this married person is beginning to think seriously about making actual changes in their life rather than just thinking and feeling stuck. The Page energy is that of a student or beginner, someone who is just starting to learn how to do something differently. And this suggests that this person might be in the very early stages of considering how they could restructure their life, how they might address their marriage situation, how they could move towards something more authentic and fulfilling. The Page of Pentacles is grounded and practical, focused on real-world steps and tangible progress rather than just ideas and feelings. This card is suggesting that if anything is going to change in this situation, it will need to move from the realm of thoughts and feelings into the realm of actual decisions and actions. The Page of Pentacles represents someone who is willing to do the work, to take things step by step, to be patient with the process of building something new. In this context, it might mean that this person would need to do the practical work of examining their marriage honestly, perhaps seeking counseling or having difficult conversations with their partner, making financial plans if separation is being considered, thinking about logistics and practical implications of any major life changes. The Page of Pentacles does not rush, but moves forward with steady dedication to learning and building. What the Page of Pentacles is showing me about this person's thoughts about you is that alongside all the emotional and mental energy we have discussed, there might also be practical considerations happening. They might be thinking about what a life with you could actually look like in practical terms, what it would take to transition from their current situation to something different, whether it is financially feasible, how it would affect children if there are any, what the timeline might be, what steps would need to happen. The Page of Pentacles brings a realistic, material world perspective that asks us to consider not just what we want emotionally, but what is actually possible and how we would make it happen in practical reality. This shows me that, at least on some level, this person is not just lost in fantasy or emotional longing, but is beginning to think about real possibilities and real steps, even if they have not yet taken any action. The Page of Pentacles also represents an opportunity for learning and growth. And in this situation, it suggests that everyone involved, including you, Pisces, has an opportunity to learn important lessons about relationships, about integrity, about honoring commitments, while also honoring authentic feelings, about the difference between what we think we want and what actually serves our growth and well-being. The Page energy is humble and open to learning, willing to admit what we do not know, willing to seek guidance and information, willing to take things slowly and learn as we go. This is a much healthier energy than thinking we have all the answers or rushing into situations without understanding them fully. For you specifically, Pisces, the Page of Pentacles is encouraging you to focus on your own practical life, your own goals, your own material and physical world, rather than getting lost in the emotional complexity of this situation with someone who is unavailable. The Page of Pentacles asks you to invest your energy into things that will bring you tangible results and real growth, whether that is your career, your education, your health, your finances, your living situation, or developing new skills and abilities. This card is reminding you that while emotional and romantic connections are important, so is building a solid foundation for your own life, and that sometimes the best thing we can do when we are caught up in a complicated or uncertain relationship situation is to redirect our energy toward aspects of life we can actually control and build. The Page of Pentacles, concluding this reading, is also offering a message about being a beginner, about having a fresh perspective, about approaching things with curiosity and openness rather than being fixed in old patterns or expectations. Whether or not anything ever develops with this married person who thinks about you constantly, you have your own journey ahead of you, your own lessons to learn, your own life to build. The Page of Pentacles encourages you to embrace the beginner's mind, to be willing to try new approaches, to invest in yourself and your own development, and to remain open to opportunities and connections that might serve you better than this current complicated situation. So Pisces, let me bring this all together for you because we have covered a lot of ground here, and I want to make sure the overall message is clear. The cards are confirming that yes, this married or committed person genuinely cannot stop thinking about you. Their thoughts about you are constant, consuming and causing them significant internal conflict. They are mentally trapped by their situation, as shown by the Eight of Swords, trying to find balance and patience as indicated by Temperance, bound by traditional values and social expectations as the Hierophant reveals, using inner strength to manage their powerful feelings as the Strength card shows, experiencing deep loneliness and soul-searching as the Hermit indicates, actively analyzing and thinking about communication as the Page of Swords demonstrates, appreciating you in the context of shared work or values as the Three of Pentacles suggests, needing to face truth and make clear decisions as the King of Swords demands, carrying an overwhelming burden as the Ten of Wands reveals, and possibly beginning to think practically about what could change as the Page of Pentacles hints. This is a complex situation with many layers, and what the cards are making very clear is that while this person's feelings and thoughts about you are real and significant, they are also dealing with enormous obstacles, both internal and external, that make any kind of forward movement extremely complicated and unlikely in the immediate future. They are stuck in multiple ways, bound by commitments, influenced by social expectations, overwhelmed by responsibilities, and still in the process of figuring out their own truth and what they are willing and able to do about their situation. The most important message for you, Pisces, is that you deserve clarity, availability, and someone who can meet you openly and honestly without all these complications. While it might feel flattering or significant that someone thinks about you constantly, the reality is that thoughts and feelings do not equal action or availability, and you have every right to decide that you do not want to be part of such a complicated situation. The cards are encouraging you to focus on your own life, your own growth, your own practical goals, and to maintain strong boundaries that protect your well-being and honor your worth. If this person eventually does the work to create real change in their life and becomes genuinely available, that would be a different situation. But right now, the cards are showing someone who is stuck and overwhelmed despite their feelings, and waiting indefinitely for someone in that position is not likely to serve you well. Trust your intuition, honor your feelings, but also honor your wisdom and self-respect. And remember that the right person for you will be able to show up for you fully, honestly, and without the weight of divided loyalty and unavailability. You are worthy of that kind of clear and available love. And I hope this reading has given you some insight and clarity about what is really happening in this situation and what your best path forward might be.